It's been a great first term. We have a confident, optimistic state. I'm a confident, optimistic governor, and there's really good reason for that. And I'm going to riff, if I can, in 3 minutes on the theme of Tacoma, not because I'm gratuitously trying to soft soap the local home team, but coming over here, I was thinking about what's going on here in Pierce County is kind of emblematic of some of the progress we're making statewide. We'll start with the Rainiers. They win their division, and for my first son's 40th birthday party, I gave him a Rainiers hat, and he really likes it, so that's working well on the home front. Our economy is doing very, very well. According to Business Insider magazine, we're the #1 economy in the country, and something I'm proud of is that we have the most rapid small business job creation per capita in the United States. I'm proud of that because we have focused intensely in helping small business job creation in our state. Jay Inslee's building more winglets because we helped him with our strategic reserve. Demand Energy in Spokane, where we were yesterday, is building a new energy system that's going to help light up New York City. OBSI down in Vancouver is moved from Oregon, and they have an incredible business to develop proteins in a very cost-effective way. We're helping move the needle big time in job creation. It is not uniform across the state, but it is all upwards. We've reduced unemployment in every single county, and we've reduced unemployment to single digits in every single county in the state of Washington. A part of that reason is because our strategic job creation plan is working in the state of Washington. Obviously, the principal reason is we have brilliant workers and brilliant entrepreneurs, but we're doing some really smart things to help job creation, and it's working big time in the state of Washington. Second, education. When I think of education, we are doing some very innovative things that are working. And again, I want to look at right here in Tacoma. So Tacoma's increased their graduation rate, according to your newspaper, about 55% to 82 or 83%. Spectacular improvement. Some of that might be because we might change a little bit how we're keeping score, but most of it is because the innovative work that's going on here in Tacoma. And that innovative work is indicative of the huge progress we have made statewide. So the kind of things Tacoma is leading the state and the country in, like the McCarver Homelessness Program. So the McCarver Homelessness Program is having incredible results. Reading scores are up like 33%, but we're using that as a template for the things we're doing statewide. So I was really happy that we passed the youth homelessness bill, which now prioritized youth homelessness, using the McCarver kind of model of the kind of things we can do. The intense focus on college, creating a culture of postgraduate attendance is working big time. It was exciting when I was at Stadium High School and saw people getting their college scholarship set up. And the things you see here in Tacoma, we've done big time statewide. So while I've been governor, very quickly, here's what we've accomplished. Some of, if not the largest expansion of early childhood education in the history of the state. 7,000 new students and 40,000 students are going to get better quality early childhood education. The neuroscience is clear. This is the single best time we can get to students when their minds are so plastic and flexible. We're following the neuroscience from the UW. It's working. In the next year of their experience, I'm the first governor in the history of the state that can say, every kid's going to get access to full-day kindergarten. To me, this is like really exciting that hundreds of thousands of kids are going to have potentially life-altering experiences because we catch their problems early. We don't let them fail in second, third, or fourth grades. We want them to go to Walla Walla Community College instead of Walla Walla Penitentiary. We want to eliminate the opportunity gap, and that is intensely of an interest of mine. We've reduced the size of classes. We're going to go down to 17, starting with the high poverty schools from kindergarten to third grade. Something very exciting to me, I fought for a new mentoring program to give teachers a new mentoring experience because we know the single most important thing in education is a high quality teacher. My dad was a biology teacher. He taught me the importance of having other teachers teach you how to teach. And that mentoring program now is alive and well. I've seen it across the state. Teachers love it because first grade teachers aren't getting in a disaster situation because they don't know how to manage a classroom. We got to keep these good teachers in the classroom, and we got to pay them. We've had the first pay increase for teachers. I won that. I had to fight for it. We got it. We've had a bipartisan success, credit to the Republicans, of starting the conversation about college tuition. We finished it to make sure that the community colleges were involved. Their original proposal was only for 4 years. We finally ended up including community colleges, which is a great success. So in every rung of the educational ladder, we have adopted proven measures that have proven ways to improve. We've increased graduation rates. We want to accelerate that. We want to continue to reduce this opportunity gap. Better career technical college education, earlier prioritization to people, more coding experience. Here's another thing I'm really excited about. The first apprenticeship program in state history that can be obtained while you're in high school is now starting in the Tacoma Public Schools this next year. They're starting with students at Lincoln High School. We want to develop that statewide. We want to give kids a vision for their future after high school. And that's happening right here in Tacoma. So very exciting. Now, how do we do this? We put $5.5 billion. $5.5 billion. This is the largest expansion of educational investment in the history of the state of Washington. $2.2 billion of that, or three, I always forget, is attributable to the McCleary decision. But we didn't stop. We're doing McCleary Plus. McCleary is only K through 12. We want to do pre-K and we want to do post-K because we got to take care of the continuum of education, and that's what we're doing. Because we've plowed our additional revenues that have come from robust economic growth and closing a few loopholes into the education of our children. So this gives me confidence we can take the next step to solve the McCleary obligation, because I was able to bring the parties together and fashion a very, very successful educational program with the largest investment in state history. I liken it to climbing Mount Everest. We've gone the first 20,000 feet. We're at Camp 4. Now we got to go the rest. And it's hard, but it's achievable because we know that we've made progress if we put our minds to it. You look at transportation. I said very early, and forgive me for the poor sloganeering, but I said, if you want to go to heaven, finish 167. And we did it. I don't want to go to heaven right away. But we did it. And I got to tell you, I think it was a substantial factor in this was because I decided we were going to do it. And I was not going to take no for an answer. And I was able to bring the parties again together to have a very smart transportation package, which is going to do great things for Pierce County. We're going to widen JBLM and the I-5, which is absolutely necessary, and we're going to put 200,000 people to work. This happened because when one of the parties said no for 2.5 years, I encouraged them to continue to come to the table, and credit to the Republicans. In the third year, they were willing to help us pass the smartest and the largest, by the way, this was the largest transportation package in the history of the state. And that was the right thing to do because we should be optimistic about our economic growth. We got 65,000 people moving here, and we got to get ready for that movement. So I'm very happy we delivered big time for Pierce County. I'm very excited about that development, and I'm glad that my diligence and willing to compromise, because I had to compromise to get this thing through. I had to swallow a bitter pill that the Republicans put in, stopping us from doing a thing that would give people better gas mileage. But they stopped it, so I had to swallow that. It takes compromise. Last thing I'll mention, we're fixing some old problems the state has had. We found old problems at Western State. We have insisted on doing an evaluation of the security there, which I insisted on, and we are fixing the problems at Western State that have been frustrating. The system was gutted before I was governor. We have been working diligently. It's taken us longer than I would have liked. These people deserve our help. I know them. I used to work in a mental hospital, at the Oregon Mental Hospital. I know what severe schizophrenia and depression look like. These people deserve a really good mental health care system, and we are continuing to improve it, and I'm sure we'll talk in more detail about it.
So you touched on some of the things that you might have talked about with the second question I was going to ask specifically is what makes you an effective governor, in particular for Tacoma and Pierce County. You touched on some of those things, especially with Highway 167 and some of the education initiatives here. Are there any other things that you would mention that make you a good governor for the 253 area code?
A number of things. It won't surprise you that there's other things. First off, I'm a person, a fifth-generation Washingtonian who recognizes there's more to Washington than just what's under the shadow of the Space Needle. And that's really important to understand that. I worked in Tacoma for a year with the Gordon Thomas Honeywell law firm. I lived in Yakima for 18 years and raised my sons in central Washington. I grew up in South Seattle most of the time and went to Ingham High School. I know the width and breadth of the state, and I have a good flavor that our state is much more than the 206 area code. And I think that life experience has suited me well to deliver for Pierce County and deliver for Yakima County and deliver for Spokane County because I know them well because of my personal experience. I'll just start with that. Second, I think that I'm a person who understands why we need a diverse economy. Sometimes governors get in a rut and say, we're just going to do X. We're just going to do aerospace. Or we're just going to do agriculture. I think I have been very successful in trying to build a diverse economy. And Pierce County is a diverse county, understanding the importance of our military infrastructure and doing some really creative things to help military families and veterans and maintain the military here in Pierce County, very important. I'll give you an example. We have started a training program for people mustering out of JBLM. So we give them transitional services so they have a job before they leave the service, so we can reduce unemployment for veterans or at least have them in a training program. The Pentagon is using what I created, or my team created, working with the leadership at JBLM. They want to duplicate that nationwide. We started a program called Camo to Commerce, where we're helping people leaving JBLM start businesses. Again, a very unique approach. When we were facing potential withdrawals of forces, we were Johnny on the spot. We had a plan to deal with that so that we could reduce the impact on Pierce County and the state. Turned out we were successful and we had, relatively modest losses, but we were prepared for that. My transportation plan has prepared to maintain military infrastructure by widening JBLM. I've worked with their leadership to try to reduce even before we do that, and I'm credit the leadership at the Army who helped us improve some of the transportation on the base to try to remove the I-5 or reduce the I-5 congestion. So I've understood the importance of trade so that our transportation package had a very solid component of freight mobility. So we weren't just worried about commuters getting to the Space Needle, we were worried about freight mobility getting to the Port of Tacoma. That's one of the reasons 167 was so important to us. It's one of the reasons we have 20% improvement in our exports since I've been governor, because I understand we're an export-related economy. And we've grown exports like crazy, in part because I've focused on marketing. I was selling Brown and Haley candy in Shanghai. I was at a meeting yesterday with the company I was helping market their Liberty metal water bottles. I got their water bottles in Japan, and the guy who was there reminded me when I was in Shanghai, given a trade of Brown and Haley chocolates, I almost got crushed by 300 Chinese who wanted to get their Brown and Haley chocolate. So the kind of things that I focused on have focused on the entire state in economic development, and I think that's important to Pierce County. Educationally, I've understood the importance of UW in Tacoma. And if Dr. Herb Simon and others, I think you'll understand why I know that's important, but also the community college system. Ever since I was in the legislature in 1989, I've been very committed to the community college system, and I know how important that is in technical colleges. I had joy talking to a graduation of Bates. To me, that's as exciting talking to that as to the Harvard Law School graduation. I know it does as much, and those parents were beaming just as much as any parents at any graduation ceremony.